The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. As the Knicks prevail in New Orleans, another win that they're able to clinch down the stretch as they win at 130 to 125. Mo Diawara, a career-high 18. OG Anunoby, 23 and 11, did his best against Zion Williamson, and Jalen Brunson capped the clutch again with 10 points in the fourth quarter. Great to have you with us. Bill Pidto here in New Orleans as the Knicks are now 13 and 3 in the last 16 games, and a whole lot stood out in terms of the theme of late around this team. Everybody contributing. I mentioned Diawara getting the start, third career start, second in a row, career high 18 points. You had Trey Jemison and Kevin McCullough out on the floor in the final seconds with the Knicks trying to protect a three-point lead. Miles McBride back from the ankle injury, missed 8 games, comes through with 14 points, 12 of the 14 in the fourth quarter. Mikal Bridges doesn't score a lot tonight, but ends up passing off for a career-high 10 assists. So everybody doing a little bit of everything, and this team continues to roll. The Pelicans had an excellent game from Zion Williamson. Saddiq Bey had 23 points in the first quarter. Jordan Poole took some shots that I'm sure he wished he hadn't have taken, as is always the case with Jordan Poole, but he also put up a ton of points, 26 points for Jordan Poole. So the Knicks now on this road trip are 2-0. They'll finish up the calendar year 2025 at San Antonio New Year's Eve on Wednesday night. OG Anunoby, a great game. Did not score at all in the first quarter. Had 16 points in the second quarter. Look at him change the game as always on defense. Goes to the bucket there. And as Anunoby talked about with me after the game, really did well against Zion Williamson. Very physical matchup. Third double-double this season for Anunoby. 11 boards, 23 points, 3 steals. And the Knicks are able to prevail as they get help from everybody. Anunoby especially explosive in quarter number 2 with 16 of his 23. You take a look at the final numbers as the rebounding total went to New Orleans. One of the things we were thinking about pregame with Mitchell Robinson out with load management, we thought the Knicks might dominate the boards. James Borrego, the Pelicans coach, talked about how his team has had all kinds of problems rebounding, but they actually won the rebounding battle. But it's the Knicks who win the game. That's most important. 130-125. Over now to the guys who called it for you, Mike and Alan. Guys, take it away.
All right, Billy, thanks. During this recent stretch, there have been some victories against lower echelon teams, like the game in Indiana, the game tonight against 2 teams that have struggled. But when you go on the road and the atmosphere is crazed, and you said this to me at halftime, the Knicks are getting every team's best shot, especially the lesser teams. Sometimes these are the hard games to win, and especially the way this crowd was tonight, the way the Knicks were struggling defensively. But again, they have some special chemistry going on right now that enables them to mentally fight through these games and get a victory.
I keep repeating it because Jalen Brunson said this when the Knicks won the NBA Cup, and he said, find a way. It's just that's something that they just have been doing this year up to that point. And since then, we keep seeing that find a way mentality. And, you know, we talked about this before the game, the different contributions they get from places you did not expect them to get it from. Tonight it was Mo Diawara, who's been getting starts, but really helped them get a good start. The defense wasn't great in that first half, 75 points allowed. But then holding them to 50 points in the second half, especially 24 in the fourth quarter, I should say, with players like, again, McCullough out there and Jemison out there. These are not the brand names you were expecting to see to close out a game defensively. But Mike Brown has shown trust in them. And these players, when they get in the game, they understand the role and what to do. And that, to me, is what creates, I think, a team toughness.
And Jalen Brunson had stretches where he didn't shoot the ball well tonight. But in the fourth quarter, once again, the NBA Clutch Player of the Year, he always has been finding a way. We've been saying that about him for the last several years.
Certainly, and when it's winning time, he could have a game where he's struggling to shoot the basketball early on, and you always know that if it's close late, you know he's going to be the closer. Enter Sandman, and that's what he did in this game. They were trying to get the ball out of his hands, everything they could do to get the basketball out of Jalen Brunson's hands late in this game, and yet he still found ways to get buckets when needed. 10 points in the fourth quarter. And all the plays that needed to be made. This drive here on Kevon Looney, when he just suddenly gets a switch, and that must have been a nightmare, not just for Looney, but also for the Pelicans to see, wait, that's not the guy we want on him. And he always comes through, and that's also why the team concept thing is important, because if your star player isn't off to a hot start, he doesn't have to carry you through the whole game, but if it's close late, you know he'll win it for you.
And Mike Brown is not afraid to experiment at this point in the season.
He's a mad scientist.
All these big minutes that the role players are playing at crunch time in a close game on the road, down the line, this will really give them that experience where they're not hesitant. There's no fear going out there. They've been through some of it before. It's really all part of the building process.
Confidence comes from demonstrated performance, and every single player that was used is demonstrating the performance necessary to win, and that confidence will continue to grow.
And we weren't confident that Bill Pidto was going to be here at the end. We thought he might be at Bourbon Street at this point already, but he's decided to stay for the whole game and finish up the postgame.
I would never want to leave you guys in the lurch. By the way, Gershon Yabusele also contributed with 9 points. Monica McNutt will join us right after this.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Back on the Knicks postgame show as the Knicks prevail over New Orleans 130-125, outscoring the Pelicans in the decisive fourth quarter 34-22. We say hello to Monica McNutt, and we were just talking with Mike and Alan. This was a personification of a team game. Everybody 12 guys got in. Everybody scored in the lineup that played except for Ariel Hukporti. They got 9. I mentioned before the break, Gershon Yabusele, who hasn't been playing, got 9 points.
Yeah.
I mean, up and down the lineup. McCullough, you had Jemison in there. Deuce McBride was back, 12 points in the fourth quarter.
Started it all.
Right. What do you think watching the game from the radio booth?
I think we had Deuce McBride for our radio interview, and I said, what happened in the fourth quarter? He said, we figured it out. And he said, but I think in figuring it out, it was the toughness, which is what showed up. And I have to agree with him on that. Because, Pidto, we look at the stats that have made this team so successful so far: rebounds, second chance points, a bunch of categories that they were outperformed in tonight. But they still managed to find a way. And so I think that determination, that grit in the fourth quarter, deciding to defend, making it more difficult for the Pelicans to get to the rim. And then, of course, big-time free throw shooting late.
And Mo Diawara, career high 8. His career high before tonight, Monica, was 5 points.
I know.
He had 13 in the first quarter, 18 for the game. The other night it was McCullough, and now tonight it's Diawara. And he did this right off of the opening tip.
I told Tyler that I think Kevin McCullough Jr. and Mo Diawara were sharing Michael's secret stuff from Space Jam, and it worked so effectively for both of them. But this is the exact script for what Mike Brown was talking about with Mohamed Diawara pregame. He has a great feel for the game. He knows where his teammates are. He's got great length and speed, and some of the things you can do really make you say, wow. And I thought tonight he did a really good job of playing within himself, but being in the right places at the right time. Now, obviously, the next step for that young man is to be on the floor late in the fourth quarter, but he had a terrific start to the ballgame.
And what about the improvement on defense? We've talked about the fact that the Knicks gave up 75 first-half points. Most they've given up in a half all year, but they were a whole lot better when it mattered in the second half and down the stretch. Cafe Dumont, what do you have? Mike Breen and the beignets coming up. Welcome back, everyone. Here in New Orleans, the Knicks prevail over the Pelicans 130-125. And tonight's thrilling moment brought to you by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on. Captain Clutch. Jalen Brunson, 28 points, 10 in the fourth quarter, as he came through, as always, when the game was on the line. And the Knicks were able to prevail by the final count of 130-125. Time now for the Audi MSG 150 final. Other scores from around the NBA. And as you take a look at the scoreboard of note here, the Bucks beating the Hornets. Phoenix beats the Wizards. The Warriors beat the Nets, who had won 7 of their last 10. The Raptors prevail over the Orlando Magic. Elsewhere around the NBA tonight, as we take a look at these other scores, we don't have the Denver score up there, but something to watch. Nuggets superstar Nikola Jokic left the game tonight for Denver with a knee injury, limped to the locker room. No report on how bad it is, but hopefully he is not out long term. It could be a potential serious injury for Nikola Jokic. When we come back, Mike Brown's post-game comments coming up as we continue from New Orleans right after this. Stay with us, everybody.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Welcome back, everyone, as the Knicks tonight beat the Pelicans. Final count 130-125. We continue now from the corner three, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. So one more game for the Knicks in calendar year 2025 at the Spurs Wednesday night, 6:30 pregame, game at 7. And then the Knicks are home on January 2nd to take on the Hawks, and then on January 3rd to take on the 76ers. Let's now listen into Mike Brown's postgame comments, as always, presented by Chase.
Man, what a game. We came out, you got to give them a lot of credit. Couldn't stop anybody to begin the game. And, Saddiq Bey had it going. He had 26 in the first half. And then Zion was a load for us. And, Jordan was good for them off the bench. But at the end of the day, we did a better job on Saddiq in the second half. I think he had 0 points in the second half. And, Zion kept them in the game, and Jordan Poole kept them in the game. But our guys, found a way. They actually came out after that first half and did a better job defensively. In the second half, we held them to 50 points in the second half, which was huge. In third quarter, they scored 28. Fourth quarter, they scored 22. And that's an average of 25 points, obviously, per quarter, which is closer to what we want to be. Because we feel like we can score with anybody. We just got to lock in defensively and try to do it for 4 quarters. We've done it in spurts, and tonight it was in spurts. But we found a way to get a win. A lot of great performances from our guys. And I played 12 guys, and every person that I called, they came in and they contributed in some way, shape, or form. 35 assists, Mikal with 10, and Jalen with 10. It's a phenomenal game from those two guys. Cat with a double-double. I don't know if he's leading the league in double-doubles, but he's not leading the league. He's got to be in the top 3. And again, I say this, with conviction. That's what all-stars do. All-stars, great players, figure out a way to impact your team. And getting a double-double tonight was huge for us, especially with them going big. And then Mo kept us in the game early on offensively, knocking down timely shots. And, the more he's out on the floor, that's the more he's getting comfortable. So it was a lot of fun to watch Mo play the game. But reality of it is, our defensive player of the game that just put his footprint on the game on both ends of the floor. Another all-star of ours is OG Anunoby. I don't know who can guard OG on a closeout. If you're closing out to him, to me it's a wrap, if he wants it to be a wrap. You could be big, you could be small. You got to get all the way to his body because he'll knock down the 3. And if you don't get down to his body, he's so quick and so strong. He's going right through your inner thighs. So offensively, he was huge for us. He was huge offensively. He was huge on the glass. But just as importantly, he was our defensive player of the game.
Anunoby, 23 points. Even though he went only 1 of 8 from downtown, imagine how many points he would have put up if he shot a little bit better. Still 23 and 11 with a block shot and 3 steals for OG Anunoby. Back with more after this. All right, we wrap up the Knicks post-game show as the Knicks are victorious here in New Orleans by the count of 130-125. The last game on this 3-game road trip, New Year's Eve from San Antonio. Knicks at the Spurs. Pregame at 6:30 with the game coming away at 7. And also stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports App. Want more than just a post-game show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports App. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.